Well, hey, thanks for joining me, a few of you. I've got strawberry cinnamon twists if anybody wants them. They're new at Taco Bell. I mean, that's why I got them, because I had never tried them before. I was bribing you guys a little bit to, pay attention and no, of course. Yeah, they're not bad, huh? Yeah, strawberry. Yeah, I think they have cinnamon too. They're like strawberry cinnamon. Yeah. Well, hey, I'll leave them out in case you guys want another one. Well, welcome to Employee Wellness class. You've got your handout. Today is a lot about body mechanics and spine alignment. So that very first graph there, who notices something major about that very first graph? Something you can pull out that you just notice right away. Don't worry about reading. I know it's hard to read the fine print. It doesn't matter if you read anything. Does anything look familiar? Yeah, Marta has good posture. So in each one of these diagrams, that little line goes right through the center of your body, the plumb line. The head is too far in front of the line on every single one of those. So whatever kind of back injury you have, pre-existing back conditions like you've talked about, a lot of the times that causes the spine to degenerate and push the head forward. So we really want to try to control where our head is. That's going to help us control the rest of our body and our spine alignment. So just think about that in the back of your head when you're walking and you're going, you're trying to get to where you're going and you lead with your head. And think about that when you're standing. Maybe you're talking to a neighbor for a long time, you start to sink in, and then since you shove your knees locked out, your hips go forward, now your head has to compensate. I'm exaggerating, but that is things that happen. So really, just be aware of pulling your chin in, not up, not down, but just in, just a smidge, just enough to get on in the middle of that line. The next one is your workload down here, this other graph. So check out that little graph. When you're laying flat on your back, you do have a little bit of load on your spine. Ooh, I have to be careful. I got 6 stitches. No, it's all good. So laying flat on your back like this, you do get a little bit of load on your spine, but you notice on your graph, that's the smallest amount. Now, if you bring your legs up and support yourself by the couch or the chair or the exercise ball, something where your legs are elevated, I had just made my spine more neutral, more supported, and more in alignment. So this is a great go-to place. If you're feeling like I just need some release in my spine, decompression, realignment, we're going to talk about imbibition later in our handout. Try to get to this position about 10 minutes or so, and it'll really help you take some of gravity and stress off of your spine and help you realign your body. When you roll to your side, you see it's still less, than if you were standing, but you still now have stress and load on your spine, on your side too. If you sleep on your side and you have good support under your head and in between your knees, that helps even out your spine even more. So the whole idea is when you're resting, you're helping your spine, not hurting your spine. Now, when you stand up, the next one over, you're against gravity. So we have full load on our joints and our spine. There are ways to make it worse. We do not want to make the load and the stress on our back worse because we're already fighting gravity. We're already, doomed. So if you start to hunch forward or carry something heavy out here, now you are really loading up your spine and creating a lot of extra risk, that could potentially injure you. If you sit slouched and you start slouching and slouching and slouching, that creates more load on your spine. And then if you hold something heavy while you're slouching, that's the one on the far side. So stop me anytime with questions, please. I just wanted you to have a quick little visual before we cover the backside. So the 20 and 2 rule. Everybody complains to me that they get up stiff and achy. At night, you're laying still all night long, your body is going to get stiff. It's going to not have as much blood flow in your joints. So to avoid that throughout the day, my 20 and 2 rule is for every 20 minutes of being still, not just necessarily sitting, but being still, you need 2 minutes of movement. That could be just standing up and marching in place. That could be going to the bathroom. That could be getting a drink of water. You just have to break the cycle. So if you're at a standing desk, which is great, we've got standing desks, After 20 minutes, you've got to change it up. Either sit back down and move your desk down, or take a little walk or march in place. But just remember, anytime you're still for 20 minutes, you want to break that cycle. You know, standing in line somewhere, waiting, right? You're just standing there. Oh, you need to think about marching in place or trying to find a place to sit or some way to break that position. No questions so far? So being aware of your general posture, we talked a little bit about that before class. That's a whole nother can of worms that we can cover in one of our wellness classes, is just posture in general. But just a quick overview, the chin tuck that we talked about, keeping your head back, the shoulders, don't allow your shoulders to roll forward in the socket. I'm exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying. When you start to get a little tired or lazy, the shoulder goes with gravity and it starts to roll forward. So think of just a slight shoulder squeeze and then your pelvic tilt. So anytime you're standing, you're sitting, you're laying down, you have control over your pelvis. So if you start to feel your pelvis shifting, where you're kind of arching your back and you're sinking into your joints because your muscles are getting tired and you're kind of forgetting, you can fix that by lengthening your spine. So if you're sitting there right now, you could practice a pelvic tilt. You can rotate your pelvis forward, you could rotate your pelvis backwards, but the whole idea is that you know that it moves and you can control it. So you know that if you start to feel achy or stiff, ooh, I need to make an adjustment. Maybe I need to move my pelvis forward a little bit or back a little bit, or maybe I need to use my back support. That's one of our points on the list. If you scoot your bottom all the way back in the chair, now you can properly use that back support and then find your happy medium. So just be aware, when you're standing, same thing. You just really want to control, oh, is my back hurting because I have my pelvis in the wrong spot, the wrong alignment? Maybe I can do a couple marches in place and that changes the whole alignment of my pelvis. Now my stomach muscles are engaging and tucking my tailbone underneath me more and taking some of that pressure off. So, think about it on your own. When you're driving, hey, should my pelvis be a little bit more arched? Should it be a little bit more tucked? Can I control that? Can I maneuver that to take some of the pressure off and feel better? Same thing when you're walking too. Control your pelvis. If you start limping or taking too big of steps or too fast of steps, your pelvis can move all around more than you really want it to. When it moves around too much, you can create inflammation in all those little joints in your pelvis. And then that can put pressure on nerves and cause things like sciatica or all of those, fun things you get prescribed by the doctor. Next one on the list is finding your happy medium. Oh, let's join our group. Let's welcome our... So grab your handout. We are on the third one down. Finding your happy medium means don't be too robotic and stiff. Oh, Danielle said I have to have my pelvis in this perfect spot. What spot is that? Or don't be too loosey-goosey, like, oh, Danielle said my pelvis moves. Okay. So you got to find a happy medium. So you're not overstressing accessory muscles. Sometimes when people try new things, like Danielle said I got to control my pelvis, this happens. I'm exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, all these accessory muscles, we need to find this happy medium where we are being mindful of where our spine is and our pelvis, but not being so loosey-goosey or so robotic that you cause injuries. Sorry you missed the beginning, but catch up with us. Everybody got a handout. You can watch the video. So my motto is, who knows my motto? Oh, you read it. Don't be lazy, but don't get too crazy. You have to find a happy medium. Same thing with like physical therapy. Oh, I'm doing so good. More means better. I'm going to do extra exercises. No, that could end up creating more inflammation and more issues. So you have to find this happy medium where you're trying something, you're doing a little bit over time, but you're not overdoing it. Let me know if you have any questions, you guys. Stop me at any time. So with classes too, you're taking an exercise class, don't be lazy and just talk the whole time, but don't be too crazy. Don't get so competitive and do 2 or 3 in a row that now you just hurt yourself because you overdid it. So listen to your body, find that happy medium. Getting out and out of bed, getting on up and down off the floor. We're working on body mechanics today. So in and out of bed. Who wants to try a little bit? Pass these around. It's a strawberry twist, strawberry cinnamon twist from Taco Bell. Hey, you got to try it. It's new. Here you are getting in and out of bed. So we're really getting into body mechanics, okay? So you want to try to keep your body as a segment, as a unit. So you want to avoid too much twisting and funky positions that causes you extra cramping and things like that. So you go to sit on the edge of your bed, you give yourself enough room, you use your core, come down as a unit. So I'm not twisting, I'm coming right down here as a unit. Look, my legs are coming up at the same time as I'm going down. So I'm trying to move as best as I can as one solid piece. Then I roll to my back. Don't fall out of bed. And then here you are. And then when you go to get back up, same kind of thing. Roll to your side first. You can pick whichever side, depending on the bed and your shoulder injuries and hip injuries. But you roll to the side as one solid piece. Look at my body. One solid piece. So not like this. Look, whoop, I just twisted. So now I'm going together. One solid piece, my stomach's tight. I allow my legs to start dipping as I push with my elbow. And then I can come up. Take a second here to get your feet grounded. Get some blood flow. We talked about blood flow earlier so that you're not too stiff. And then you can run to the bathroom. No, just kidding. Don't run. Up and down off the floor. Very similar. I know I'm going kind of fast, but we do have a lot to cover. So stop me anytime with questions. But usually you want to get a nice big wide stance. Maybe use something for support. It would be good with your stronger leg and back right now. So you can stronger leg in front so that you can use that leg, all of that power from your stronger leg to control you down slow onto the ground. Now, I know there's a lot of variables if you had a knee surgery or things like that, but this is a very general way to safely get up and down for good body mechanics. Then you're going to get this leg around and get to all fours. Very similar here, moving as a unit, as a segment. You're going to come down onto your forearm and your hip, your side. So I haven't really broke my spine yet, right? I haven't shifted or twisted. Then I come down all the way. And then I roll as one solid piece here. So this is just, the safest way. I know a lot of us can get up quicker, but we're going to try to be mindful and practice good habits. Roll to get up, rolling to whichever side you choose as a nice solid piece, pressing with that hand and that elbow, taking a second, making sure you're not dizzy, trying to get to all fours, coming around. Stronger leg in front, stronger leg in front. You can use a chair if you need help. You're using this stronger leg now to get up. Notice how much extension of the toes you need in order to try to get that toe under there. And then stronger leg, leverage, 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 butt cheek to stand all the way up. Don't twist, don't move. That's a big no-no if that's a big way to fall. A lot of people stand up too quickly and then they twist, and then that's how they lose their balance and fall. So, moving on to your split stance position. A lot of us forget the power of just splitting our stance. We're vacuuming. We're just, we're wiping the counters, and we're just like, we forget. We're doing the dishes. Why does my back hurt? So it's that split stance position that can really help us with weight shifting and using the muscles instead of the joints. So if I'm vacuuming like this, I'm just using my joints. I'm using my back. But if I can split my stance and I can weight shift from front leg to back leg, now I'm not using the pressure in my joints as much. I'm using my quads, my hamstrings, my glutes, my core for some power. Think about when you're doing the dishes, you can split your stance. You can even put a foot up on a little step stool. And then increments, don't stand there for more than 20 minutes because that'll break my 20 and 2 rule. All right, so moving right along. Stop me with questions, you guys. I know this is a lot of info at once. You want to think about your muscles on each side of your spine as a sandwich of muscles. So a lot of people say, oh, it's just the core. I got to get my core stronger. Well, yes, that's true. That's part of it. But what's the other part of it? This whole backside, your glutes, your back muscles in general, we've got to get stronger. We call it the posterior chain. I know Rex knows what I'm talking about. The posterior chain. We need to do more pulling exercises and strengthening of our other side because we already do so much strengthening in this side with daily routine and life and being born in the fetal position. We've got to break that. We've got to get more upright and strengthen all the muscles on the back side of our body just a little bit more. The sumo squat position. I'm just moving down the list here. So this is a nice position to utilize. Big, wide, strong base of support. If you're trying to bend over and pick things up like this, you're really going to hurt yourself. Eventually, it's going to really add up. So if you can widen that base of support, you can angle your toes out to help you with balance a little bit. You can maybe get down to the ground. You can use some support from something. But remember that you have the power to do this because we just quickly forget. But if you just open up, use your glutes more, it's going to save you. When you try and do this, it actually is going to force you to use your butt muscles more than your back. Okay, so whenever you're squatting or bending down, think about sticking your butt out a little bit and purposely trying to use some of those glutes and quads more than straining your back. Oh, everybody's looking bored. We better pass those snacks around. Come on, come on. The nose and toes rule. Anybody heard of that? Nose and toes. So to avoid too much unnecessary, risky twisting that you guys know can be really harmful for your back, we are going to try to have our nose and our toes always in the same alignment. Now, it doesn't always work, but the more we can think about that, the better. So that means I don't do the laundry like this. I'm going to just turn my toes, boop, nice split stance position, get my laundry, doot, 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 my sumo squat, that kind of thing. So think about when you can just change a few things that and use that. So same thing if somebody yells, hi, Danielle, hi. I'm not just going to go, hi. I'm going to turn my toes. Oh, hi. So whatever you do with your toes, you do with your nose and vice versa. Whatever you do with your nose, you do with your toes. Keep them together. All right, bending and reaching. You guys know that rule? The two you don't want to break together is bending, reaching, well, I guess it's three, and twisting. But you really don't want to break two together. So whether that's twisting and reaching or bending and reaching or bending and twisting, you really don't want to break two rules together. So be careful how much you're bending over, you're reaching, and twisting. Okay, that's a big one. That falls in with nose and toes. So just move your nose, move your toes, get your wide stance, shift. Can you think of an example when you're working that you can make some changes, some adjustments? When you're at the desk or you're doing the gym wipes, just try to think and apply this to your everyday life so that you can help keep your body safe at work. Where can I use this sumo stance? Where can I move my nose and my toes at the front desk? Where can I split my stance once in a while so I feel like my muscles are working? Yeah. Bending over for keys. Just widen your stance, face what you're doing so you don't have to twist too much. Just take a second to practice when it's not too busy. Okay, so sitting. So we talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but I want you to apply it to any seat, an airplane seat, a car seat, any kind of chair. If you don't have back support, then it is up to you to have your own muscles support you. But if you do have back support, I would really recommend using it and using it properly. So you have to shove your butt all the way back. If there's a little bit of space here, look what happens. My whole pelvis, that's horrible. My shoulders are forward, my head's forward, my whole back is at a weird angle. So just all you have to do is shove your butt back further. If you cannot shove your butt back further, get a towel roll. You can, any size towel, roll it up, whatever size works for you, and you can put it right back there. But you can imagine a too comfy of a couch sinking into is not the best. It's not firm enough to give us the proper support. Airplane seat never hits right? Airplane seats for most of us, I think they're horrible. I made myself my own pillow that I have stuffed to be the exact size for my body, kind of like a towel roll. But if you just shove it right back there in your lower back, it helps put you in a better alignment in the airplane seat. Same thing with your car. If you don't have good lumbar support from your car where you can push the button and control the lumbar support, just get a little cushion or towel roll that fits your body and your spine and put it right in that low small of your back. It's going to help a lot. Adjust your mirrors so you're not looking weird, Adjust your mirrors to make you taller. So you're looking up into your mirrors and you're taller. Better posture. All right. We talked about driving, flying, good, mirror adjustment. So we talked a little bit in the beginning about imbibition. So we're trying, you can kind of read that little blurb, but we're trying to get more nutrients and more blood flow to places that don't normally get a lot of blood flow, like the discs in your back, the joints in your spine doesn't get the blood flow that it needs. So if you do that position that we talked about, where you're laying on your back with support underneath your legs, maybe a ball, maybe a chair, maybe a bolster in bed. It's better than nothing. This is going to allow your alignment to get better without gravity, but then also allow more plumpness between the discs of your spine. So, all those little vertebrae, all those, you hear about herniated discs, you want those discs to be more plump and more nutrient and get more blood flow for healing. So think about maybe getting to this position at the end of a 5-6 hour shift for about 10 or 15 minutes. This is also a good place to get a little frozen bag of peas or ice if you have anywhere in your back that feels inflamed and needs a little bit of ice. All right, we talked a little bit about the posterior chain. Oh, are you watching me? Yeah. I practice what I preach. Yeah, you are testing me. Look at that. I have to. It forces me. That's going to force me to have good body mechanics so I don't pop a stitch open. But yeah, you caught me. I was just testing you. So more pulling exercises rather than pushing. So we talked about the posterior chain. That's the whole backside of our body, all the muscles in our back, posterior chain. When you're at the gym, think about doing more pulling exercises than you do pushing. You ready for a crude example? When you do a lot of pushing exercises, that's a real crude example. When you do more pulling exercises, I can walk around a little taller, a little straighter. So if you're not injured or have a shoulder injury or anything like that, then you can, still do a pushing exercise, just complement it with 2 pulling exercises. So twice as many pulling exercises as you do pushing exercises. Or maybe just hold an isometric contraction like a plank. You don't even have to do pushing. You don't even have to do overhead pressing. You're stabilizing your shoulders and your exercise is just holding the plank position. That's a nice idea as well. So there is a difference between strengthening and stretching. A lot of the times they get lumped up together as overall exercises. But I really want us to think and break it down where 2 separate concepts. Strengthening would be things like you're pulling exercises, you're pumping the muscle, you're squeezing the muscles, you're shortening those muscle fibers to try to get better alignment. So that is more of that exercise strengthening. Now stretching is the opposite. You're trying to lengthen the muscle. You're trying to make it longer. So we need to stretch the front side of our body so that we can actually get to good posture. Then we need to strengthen the back side of our body so we can hold it and maintain it. So we really need both, 50-50. Because if you're so tight in your chest and your pecs that it's pulling you like this, all the strength exercises in the world are not going to help you unless you stretch those muscles and lengthen them to actually get to the right position. So we do a lot of posture stretching at the same time as back strengthening to help us with our body mechanics and to support a proper spine alignment. There's an exercise handout here in case you want it before you leave for our gym, the Orchard Creek equipment. So this is an example of a nice starter program for anybody wanting to use the equipment here at Orchard Creek. It's just a nice double pulling, single pushing starter program that you can follow along. The last two on the list are going to be topics for future employee wellness classes, because I know these are big topics of conversation. But things like your workplace ergonomics, where your desk is, where your keyboard is, mousing. If the mouse is in the wrong spot, you're going to feel it cramp up and give you tennis elbow, a golfer's elbow, carpal tunnel, right? All of those things. So we're going to talk a little bit about the workplace ergonomics and how the stations are set up. And then a whole nother topic we were talking about is more posture, literally more postures, opening up that whole topic a little bit bigger with posture in general. Today was a lot more about kind of the mechanics of your body. One last little thing, I'm watching some of you sitting cross-legged here. You know what that does, right? Yeah, so when you sit too long in this position, your whole spine is crooked. Have you been to the hairdresser and they ask you to uncross your legs? Because it actually does shift your whole body, and they don't want to cut your hair sideways. So imagine what that's doing to your spine for an hour or two. Even when you cross your ankles, ladylike, this whole shifting thing is just really unsafe for us. So the more we can be even, plant our feet, and have equal weight on both sides, the better. If you get uncomfortable and you're like, I got to move, well, there's your 20 and 2 rule. It's probably been almost 20 minutes, and you need to maybe march in place or take a quick, potty break and come back. But that's usually your warning. Okay, any questions? I tried to pack it into 30 minutes, you guys. That's a lot. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. Grab a gym program if you need it before you leave, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.